Men can always say things like, oh, I don't care if my girl makes more money than me. An alpha man will always care if a woman makes more money than them. 110%.
Oh my word, what's happening on this podcast?
An alpha male.
So, do you think I would care if my girl makes more money than me?
Yeah, but
I'm asking you a question.
Yeah, but I don't consider you an alpha male.
No, and why is that?
Because I just consider you an alpha male. I don't consider you
why
that.
am I not?
Listen, moment of silence for the brother. Oh, why? That's painful when you find out on a podcast in front of the millions of masses from another woman that her conclusion of her dialogue with you is that I don't consider you as an alpha male, whether she's right or wrong. Moment of silence to the brother.
An alpha male?
Because I just don't get that vibe from you.
What's an alpha male?
Well, to me,
I run my life.
That doesn't mean you're an alpha male.
I am a businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. I have employees.
That doesn't make you an alpha male.
I control my life.
But it's also, you
what's
can
an alpha male?
That's what I mean.
What is an alpha male?
Just because somebody...
Make that make sense to me. What's your criteria for alpha male?
If you'd let me speak, but you're not letting me speak. Just because you can look up...
All right. First mistake. Never ever get emotional. His first mistake before all of that was, you see, I feel sorry for boys like this. My generation, millennials, Gen Z, fed on this Disney narrative of total equality, like blank slate equality. We can be equals. You know, it doesn't matter if she's the leader of the household, if she earns more than me and I'm a stay-at-home dad, because it's a lie. And it goes counter to a woman's nature. Counter to her nature. Women are not interested in it. They are fundamentally not interested in it. They find it very difficult to respect a man whom she is outperforming. But this is the narrative that my generation, Gen X as well, in fact, for that matter, Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, this is the narrative we've been fed. And then when you get a woman as brutally honest as her, telling him what the time is, it's like, oof, wow. Second mistake he made, never get emotional, guys, especially with women. At the moment now, she seems to be more rational and reasonable than him. She can tell she's hurt him. She's hurt his masculine pride. And he's dipping into his emotional way of expressing himself. This is a huge mistake. Don't ever do that. If someone offends you, if a woman offends you, the worst thing you can do is give her that rise that she was looking for in the first place. And I'm not saying that she was looking for a rise here. I think she was calling out for what it was, to be honest with you. But oftentimes women want to get a rise out of you just for the sake of it. Don't give them that satisfaction.
To your family and stuff that does not make you an alpha male. It becomes loads of things.
Because you can look after your family, look after your friends, be a source of strength, not only just in finances, but in advice and support to the entire core of your friendship group.
Okay, but alpha male to me is also the way a guy carries himself.
And how do I carry myself?
And to me, you don't carry yourself as what I would see an alpha male.
What do I do that makes me not carry myself like an alpha male?
Number one, you talk a lot.
Oh, okay, so because I talk a lot, I'm now not an alpha male.
Oh, boy. She's dropping it like it's hot today. Absolutely 100% correct. Women don't like men who waffle on and rabbit on. Not just that, because women need to be stimulated in their minds. They want a mystery. They want to figure you out. When you talk too much, you unravel yourself to them. And there's nothing left to figure out. There's nothing left to figure out. There is so much power in silence. In fact, this is a quote I was going to put up the other day on my Instagram. I completely forgot, but she's reminded me. There is so much power in silence because it's hard and most people can't do it. That silence zipping your mouth, subhanallah. Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khair aw liyasmut. Whoever believes in Allah and his last day, let him say good or remain silent. So much power in silence. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu was reported to have said that he who speaks more sins more. He who speaks more sins more. Why? It's a numbers game. The more you speak, the more likely you are to say something that's incorrect. It's like, I don't know, let's say you're a fighter. The more fights you have, the more professional bouts you have, the more likely you are to lose. That's the way it goes. The more you speak, the more likely you are to make a mistake and hence sin.
No, it's my personal opinion. I don't think
it's also a very female attribute to rabbit on, to talk. Women talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. That's a feminine attribute. So what she's picking up on there, and I don't know this guy from Adam, so I don't know if he talks a lot or not. But what she's picking up on is, you talk a lot, therefore you remind me of my female friends. You're a girl, you're a woman.
think you give off the same alpha male energy that I would go for.
Yeah.
Like my type of alpha male.
You keep chilling with these quiet cheating.
It's not about even being quiet. It's not even about. It's not about being quiet. It's also just about alpha men. Also have this very. This is my thing, yeah. Alpha men are not necessarily the braggadocious guys that did. I don't even see those guys as alpha male either. Yeah, great, you got money, you can this, you can that, but there's an aura.
Can somebody check what the description of an alpha male is?
Obviously, an alpha male, you provide, you protect, you whatever.
Yeah. All right, let's just be quite clear here. Alpha male, this term alpha male was first invented by, I forget the name of the individual, but he studied wolves, and he was essentially a wolf studier, for want of a better word, and he invented this term alpha male to describe the leader of the wolf pack, right? And then this term has been taken and used loosely to describe dominant humans, dominant male humans. Sometimes it's been used to describe women as well, dominant female humans. I don't believe there is such a thing as an alpha female, just a masculine female. That's it. Not such a thing as an alpha female. A woman who tries to impersonate a man is a masculine female. You're trying to impersonate those dominant masculine qualities. That's a masculine female, not an alpha female. So an alpha male, again, the term was derived from the animal kingdom, from the wolf packs, to describe the leader of the pack. That's it. That's all it is. And a lot of people get too hung up on that. That's why I'm making that distinction. It doesn't matter whether you call it alpha or apples. The point is, what does it describe? It describes the leader of that pack, period. The one whom the rest of the pack look up to for protection, for provisioning. And also, one of the other perks of being the leader of the pack is that the females of the pack will give themselves up to you physically, will make themselves sexually available to you. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. But also it's to do with like personality traits as well. I think alpha male is, and I think some of the ways you operate do not give me alpha men vibes.
Alpha energy. I don't give you big alpha energy. Hang on. Now we're not talking about.
You literally said you let gal walk all over you. Literally.
When did I say that?
You said
I've never said that. I have never said that. You know why this is annoying me? Because you know me.
I don't, like I said, this is the first time I'm seeing this. And shout out to you, Ruhel. You're the one who sent this to me. Ruhel on Instagram. He's in the comments as well sometimes. I don't know this guy from Adam. I don't know who this woman is from Adam. I have no idea what this podcast is. But boy, if that's how he's moving, no wonder why she thinks like that.
You're talking about on the podcast side, man.
About,
you know me. Come to hold on. Let me ask you a question. You come to Brom and see how my thing's set up with everybody around me, and you're trying to tell me I'm not the dominant animal in my group.
We're in your group, great, lovely. But I'm saying, to me, like what I see as an alpha man, you do not give me that vibe. I'm about the presence. I feel like.
All right, let me tell you something. Yeah. If you are having to justify, fight, argue, yes, I'm the alpha, you're not it. You're not that guy. Do you want to know why? Let me tell you why. If I went up to, let me see now. If I went up to the queen or to the king of a country, and I said to this king, hey, yo, king, you're not the king. I just don't get those vibes from you. You're not the king. Do you think the king is going to be fazed? You think the king is going to be bothered? The king knows I'm the king. Period. He knows it. You know it. If I went up to Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, is he Prime Minister still? I think he is. If I went up to Boris Johnson and said, hey, yo, Boris, you're not the Prime Minister, he's going to laugh at me. He knows he's the Prime Minister. Equally, in this instance here, without having to be knighted, without anyone giving you an official ceremony, you must know that you're that guy. And if you don't know it, if you're arguing it, if you're fighting that point back, it's because you know deep down that perhaps you're not. For if you were, you'd never feel the need to fight or argue on that point in the first place. You'd simply laugh it off. It's funny. It's like, oh, okay. Just as the king would laugh it off. Oh, who's this peasant telling me I'm not the king? Okay. It's the same thing. If you're fighting it, if you're arguing it, it means you are not it. You are suffering from an identity crisis.
Alpha male has a lot to do with presence as well. And in my opinion, I'm not saying he isn't to some people. I would not say he doesn't give me alpha male vibes. David doesn't do anything around his house.
No. I like that.
Oh, no, okay.
Like the alpha
he
male
doesn't do it. When I used to go up to Birmingham to film, he used...
You see, and it's very hard because she's talking about that presence. And men will be like, yo, what's that presence though? What is it? I'm telling you, gentlemen, this is something that can't really be explained. It's something you must become. And you must become it by the work that you do behind closed doors on yourself, not just on your job, but on yourself. The work that you put into on yourself behind closed doors. Refining yourself, crafting yourself, sculpting that sculpture on a daily basis. It doesn't happen by chance. Working on your emotional restraint. Working on your personal development, your self-development. Working on all of these different areas to ensure that you are crafting that beautiful sculpture every single day in private. And that's the presence that she speaks of. Alpha male doesn't feel the need to describe, to justify himself. He'd laugh this off. He'd be like, oh, you think I'm an alpha male? Okay. Next question. And instantly that would spark doubt in her mind. But no, you hear justifying it. She's not hearing it. You're just consolidating what she thought.
To have someone that would cook, clean, everything, and
can't wait to come and live with you and not have to do anything ever.
I should tell you what the funny thing is. It was all his friends, or like
I'll pay them.
I'll be like there, and the girl would be like getting up. Like, oh, I'm just gonna go and cook now, and they would just be sitting there, just like waiting. Yeah. That's why he doesn't know how to do nothing.
What a G! Absolute G.
So you just understand me, don't you?
Zizi's version of an alpha male is just a man that doesn't speak because he's so regal and silent. But really and truly, those men don't speak because they have nothing to say. They don't have a vocabulary. They don't have dialogue. They don't have anything interesting to say. They're silent because...
See, once again, he's tripping. He doesn't understand it. And this is... If you're not the king, you can never describe or understand or articulate what it feels like to be the king. He's not the king. So he doesn't know what it means to feel like. Those guys have nothing to say. No, the loudest person in the room is always the one who knows the least. Always. And you will notice in a group of men that there is always one whom the rest of the group are looking to for affirmation, for confirmation, looking for his opinion, his viewpoint. And typically he's the quietest. He says nothing. He's nodding. He's shaking his head. He's not speaking. That's the leader of the wolf pack amongst humans. He doesn't get it because he is not it. And his masculine pride has obviously been hurt and he's justifying it, which is again a feminine trait. Never ever justify. If you are feeling the need to justify it, it's because you are not it. Once again, would the king feel the need to justify to a peasant that he's not the king? If he's been told he's not the king, come on, he'd laugh it off. He knows he's the king.